I think one of the things that struck me fairly recently, actually, was although I had a very happy childhood in many, many ways, it was nobody talked about their past. Nobody talked about my grandmother had lost her husband, who was absolutely her beloved. My father had lost his home and his country. He became, funnily enough, a lover of Italy. Always said he felt whole there, which was rather a sort of black joke. But and my mother, because she couldn't talk about it, and then when eventually she could, it was too painful. And I never really talked to them, and or even asked, because I had the feeling that it wasn't something they were comfortable talking about. My father once showed me a little box with a pair of glasses that he'd been wearing as he was blown up, and that was about it. And I do regret not having sort of instigated it even with my mother, because I found out subsequently that other people did know more than I did, and I think maybe I should have asked more. And that's what I would like to say to people. Talk to your parents, your grandparents before it's too late, because it's you regret not having heard it from them and how they really felt.
Do you think that because Granny and Zig, my grandfather, couldn't or found it hard to talk about those things, and Granny literally couldn't because of the Official Secrets Act, do you think that that's growing up with that has affected your character or your personality? Do you think you've reacted to that?
Yes, I do actually, because when Jan started to write this book about, he kept sending me things, and I have been very resistant about reading it because somehow or other it was always a tragic story. My grandfather died when my mother was 3, and I think my grandmother found it very hard, having just had such a brief, and I mean, they had a wonderful life. They were the sort of toast of London. They mixed with the king and queen. My grandmother once said that Queen Mary said to her, "Please sit down, Mrs. Rowett," when everybody else was standing. So, but it must have been so hard. She waited 12 years and then lost him. So, and I never saw her angry. She just had a quietness about her. She was wonderful for us growing up because she was always in the house. She was always there with us. But I think there was a sort of inner tragedy that, you can't help but sort of feel. So that's why I think my brother's sort of disappointed that I don't take more interest in, what he's writing. But I find it very hard to read because it brings it all back. As I say, my advice is really talk to people before it's too late, whether they're family or even friends, even older friends or younger friends. I think talking to people is the most important thing.